Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to episode 9 of Might Help, Can't Hurt, Conversations with Leaders, Doers, and Friends. And today I'm here with a leader and a doer and a friend. Paul, nice to see you.
Great to see you, Michael. It's so lovely to see you and to chat with you. I mean, of course, because we've collaborated and worked on things for decades now, with quite a lot of success and quite a lot of fun.
Well, I'm trying to remember, was it Mystic Trader 1989? Was that when we first met?
The 80s, that's right. Yes.
Somewhere in
and we both, soon after became NLP practitioners, trainers, and then, you moved to Hollywood, I moved to Hollywood. Then we began working together and, training together.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And then there was a virus, and that was it. But do you remember? I was thinking about this morning. Can you remember what you were in the Mystic Trader browsing for? Like, what were you into then? Because that was before we got into NLP.
In those days, because it was all just wow to me. I liked Stuart Wilde's stuff, and of course he owned the shop. Yeah. And I never met him, but I heard all the stories. Yes. And
you guys would have had a great night out.
Yes. Sure. I just go in and browse and just look at, the different books. I was fascinated by all kinds of therapies. Obviously, I was into hypnosis by then, but meditation, the sort of the paranormal, the metaphysical, and I just sampled it all. I was like a sponge taking it all in. And the Mystic Trader, not only did it have everything that regular bookshops didn't have, it had cassettes in those days and some videos, but also, all sorts of other cool people went in there. So it was kind of a place to connect with other people.
Yeah. Well, I remember, like, one of my fondest memories was the first time I remember hanging out was you were going to Capitol to do your show, I think. And I was going in to do my first professional voiceover gig. And we drove down together. And, 32 years later, you are an international superstar, and I'm talking to you from my basement. It's
one of the most successful life coaches in the world.
All right, it's worked out okay for me too. But no, how has it been for you? Like, you've gone from, because my life involved a lot of travel, mostly work stuff, but you and Kate, if it's Tuesday, it must be Monaco. Like, how have you kind of adapted to, if it's Tuesday, is it Tuesday? I don't even know anymore. Like
Wednesday. Yes. You mean since the lockdown? One of my friends said to me, he goes, you don't think about it as a lockdown. Think about it as the world's gone on holiday for a few months. Think about it like that. It's much more positive. And I have to say, overall, good. But I think, like anybody, the odd moment where I suddenly woke up at 4 a.m, thought, or just got that feeling of foreboding and anxiety. I thought, what is that about? Of course, let me just tune in. I don't know about, what about, is my mother's health going to be okay? Is Kate going to be okay? What if, the world isn't the same? And, I love what I do. I travel and I do motivational talks. And what if, if that's not possible in the same way anymore? And then, of course, I would realize that, like everyone, I'm just thinking about everything that's going on in the world, because if you didn't have a bit of that, there'd be probably something wrong. I mean, something like half the country here in the UK at the moment has got sleep disruption, and pretty much everyone has had some sort of anxiety or stress. And that's what for me, every day is kind of like a Saturday at the moment. I get up and there are things to do, but I don't have to do and go at it like I used to, like a train headed downhill. I kind of, I do a lot of TV, radio interviews, print, and my podcast, and I do things like this. I mean, one of the things also I've been doing, because human connection is very important. We know that from the studies into loneliness and depression.
I want to interrupt you for a second. Your mom is on. She's
hello, Mom.
Bear that in mind, okay? Joan, lovely to hear from you. Best behavior, Paul. Best behavior.
Thank you, Michael. Yes. I FaceTimed with Mum the other day, earlier today, and she looks great. And she was, showing me all her garden and everything. And so one of the things we've been doing every evening, or during the day sometimes, is talking with friends in different parts of the world, and having that connection. And I think that's even talking to you today. And I know you'll get messages in from people. It's a really fun thing to do. I love doing this.
Yeah. No, and that's the thing, because you're such a social animal. I always sort of marveled at the true, it really energizes you. I used to joke that working with you, the hardest part of working with you was keeping up at night. I'd come down in the morning and I'd be like Paul's like, hey, oh God.
No, Michael, it's changed. I mean, the days of I used to throw lavish parties constantly, and was a very social person. That's kind of changed. Really, I like now my comfy couch, my dog, my wife, obviously not in that order. My wife, my dog, my comfy couch, and
your wife's listening too, by the way.
Yeah, and so there's nothing like a good binge box set. And
what are you guys watching? What are you guys watching?
So this week we did on Netflix Press, only 6 episodes. It's fantastic. It's about newspapers, right? But it's a drama, and it's edge of your seat at times. Then last night we watched what is it called? The last couple of nights it was that brilliant. It's got a Japanese name. Kate, what is it? It's Giri Haji. Oh, can't recommend it highly enough.
I'm excited. These are new. Nina's binging 7 Seconds, which she is loving. And watch that. We're doing the new series of Killing Eve. We love.
Yep.
But it's I mean, there's certainly okay. So one of the things that I wanted to mention, because what I was thinking about when I was thinking about how you were dealing with all this is I was thinking you and I have 2 of the lowest boredom thresholds of any 2 people I have ever met. And in you, that has manifested in some wild creativity over the years. And in me, it has in its own way. But one of the things that I always think about is whenever you and I are together, anytime a phone call would come in from a spam call, you would always, whatever we were doing, whatever important work we were doing to save the world, you'd be like, give me the phone, give me the phone, give me the phone. And I'm like, I'm just going to hang up. No, give me the phone, give me the phone. Hello. And it was like you could keep them on for 25 minutes. Now, how has that low boredom, playful, creative, how is that manifesting in lockdown? Because you must have even more time to do stuff.
Well, yes. I mean, I do like pranks. I still do the odd prank call. I did my mother-in-law recently, and I thought she realised it. I just left a message saying, hello, yes, we'd like to talk to you about your drains. Just the council. We need to come and inspect your drains. Could you call us back at 476? And I just thought, oh, she'll know it's me. Anyway, a few days later, maybe a week later, we had lunch. This was before the lockdown. And so we're sitting there, how's your drain? She went, drains? Drains? Was that you? And she went, I listened to that message about 20 times trying to get the number. So I mean, I don't know what it is. I do get off on teasing people. I always have, and so what we do, I'm trying to think what I've done in the realm of prank recently. But mostly, I mean, things like when those marketers would ring us and they go, hey, we're in your area and we've got a great offer on, and we say, whereabouts are you? I'll come and meet you. Give me a number. Give me a home number. In fact, no, I can't. Oh, what? You don't like people calling you at home? You're calling me at home, Or they go, I've got a great way for you to save money. And I would say, okay, what is it? And they go, well, we can fit solar panels to your house. I went, methane. Have you thought of methane? Because that's actually a very good form of power these days. And they go, no, sir, I've just taken it in a mad direction. And in fact, one of my funniest memories was, I remember I said, you need to talk to the lady of the house. And I passed it to what was then your 8-year-old daughter. And I said, you talk to the nice man. And she went, hello, hey there, yeah. No,
I'm playing with fairies. Oh God, I mean, I think there is something so cool about the dichotomy between, because okay, you can't see the screen I'm looking at, but there are people writing in thanking you for this audio, this book, this, asking for help, all that, and the fact that you could 24/7 save the world, got to save the world more, save the world more. But somehow instinctively, I think you've always found, and I think I found in my own way, that sort of balance between, we're going to do what we can. And in the meantime, life's kind of fun.
Yeah. Oh God, there was a friend of mine who asked me years, it was you actually, you went, tell me something, something you're terrible at, something you're not particularly good at, something you're good at, and then something you're brilliant at. And I went through things like, I don't know what I was terrible at. There's plenty of things, something I'm all right about, good at. And he went, something you're brilliant at. And I went, having fun. And I hadn't stopped to think about it. But, there was a couple of other things, I'm not a bad hypnotist, I suppose. And I thought, what a great set of questions. And I've used that with people. And for many people, it's like, wow, a light bulb moment. What was that technique again, Mike? You start with something you're bad at, right?
Well, it actually, if it's the one I'm thinking of, it came from a friend of mine named Gay Hendricks, and he talks about it as zones of genius. And he doesn't use that voice when he talks about it. I do. But it's basically, there are things that we're crap at. Then there are things that we're okay at. We're no better or worse than anyone else if we put some time in. We're okay. Then there's those things that we're really good at, probably because we've learned, we've practiced. It might be to do with our work or something like that. But then everybody's got genius. Everybody's got something, and it's usually not a job. It's something like having fun. Where it's like, boy, that is them at their best.
Yes.
And because we're scared of the word genius, we tend to kind of go, oh, well, that doesn't count.
Yeah.
But actually, like, I remember, and I've told you this story before, but somebody, Nina and I were talking, this was like 20 years ago. And you just come out with, another book and another this and another TV show. And somebody that we were with said, boy, Paul McKenna, what is he up to? What is he trying to do? Is he trying to take over the world? And Nina said, if somebody was going to take over the world, I'd just do this, Paul. I mean, it'd be a nice world. It would be really fun.
Do I actually did, it was an interview a few months ago, it's for Reader's Digest, called If I Ruled the World. And it was all these bizarre sorts of things I came out with. I think, right, I'd stop, no more guns, no more missiles. We got enough, right? I'd stop that for a start. And, and I forget what all the things I came up with, but a lot of it off the top of my head. And I thought some of that was a bit, hippie and a bit way out. But actually, at the end of it, my publicist went, brilliant. Some of that works. You should be running it, mate. And actually, I think it would be a terrible idea if I ran the world because it would be, I don't know, but
well, the world would have to stop at 5 for cocktails. But I mean, other than that,
there'd be mandatory laughter. Well, because we were talking about this, myself and Kate, my wife, yesterday. We were saying we laugh a lot. She was saying I've never laughed so much in a relationship. I said me too. And but it's proper belly laugh when we can't stop. And sometimes it's over something really stupid. Sometimes it's over something that she's very witty. Most of the jokes are at my expense. And and I thought of course it is incredibly good for your health. I remember doing a health expo nearly 20 years ago with Deepak Chopra in Dubai, and there was this doctor called Dr. Madan Kataria, and he was the laughter doctor. And this guy he wasn't telling jokes because jokes often reinforce prejudice, but he would go laughing positions, and everyone had to then pull these faces at each other, and there were a lot of serious looking people, and they were dying of laughter. We were all laughing. And he explained from a medical point of view why it's very good for your immune system, for your intelligence, for your general well-being. Laughter, and he set these laughter clubs up all over the world. The irony wasn't lost on me that there were more in Germany than anywhere else.
Speaking of reinforcing prejudices.
Exactly.
I remember as a university student reading, Freud wrote a book on humor and laughter and the therapeutic power of humor and laughter. And it was actually surprisingly funny. It was pretty much the only laughs Freud got. But it was.
I don't know. I laughed at some of his more serious theories. There's only two things that really two things that Freud said that stick out and I really liked was we leak the truth through every pore.
Ooh, I like
and
that.
Secrets make us sick. Yeah,
Secrets make us sick. That's one that I used to use a lot.
Yeah. I mean, obviously not all secrets, because if you're a secret agent, keep it secret, right?
Yes. Well, it might make you sick, but it's still a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I suppose what he's referring to is things that, ideas that are eating you up, that you feel a burden, secrets like that. But, no, not really a fan of his. But
it was not the funniest book I'd ever read. I got to be honest. but okay, let me swing the conversation a little bit. So we are both, you could say with some fairness, we are in the mental health profession. It's not necessarily how I would define us. And one of the big concerns that I hear put forward a lot by around the world is the mental health aftermath.
Yes.
Of this. And I've not really spent a lot of time thinking about it, but from your point of view, how big a risk is that, and how do we avoid it, prevent it, deal with it?
Well, there's two questions there. Firstly, you're right. As well as there being a biological virus, there's a psychological one as well. We're already seeing it. I mean, domestic violence is way up. You're going to see, again, the early research is showing depression, suicide, anxiety, stress-related disorders, sleep disruption, but the stuff at the sharp end is going to be off the scale. Part of the problem is that many of the people, sorry, one sec, my screen has just gone blank. Like that.
I can see it. We can.
I can see that. So there are lots of really good, well-intentioned people working in the area of mental health, and there are some really amazing technologies such as hypnosis, NLP, some of the psychosensory therapies that can help lots of people, but not every healthcare professional is using those, and that's what I see as a bit of a shame because, again. There are lots of well-intentioned people who are using good old-fashioned analysis, which, from my personal view, is next to useless. And a lot of useless technologies that are going to have people in therapy for years, and they'll be able to explain all their problems, but it won't have made a damn bit of difference to their behavior. And I say this from having worked with people on the front lines. I've been, for the last decade, PTSD, depression, severe trauma have been where I've been at. And the breakthroughs that we've made through the studies, like the one at King's College, into havening, which is the best of the psychosensory therapies as far as I'm concerned, and things like NLP and hypnosis are really brilliant at helping people with trauma, stress, anxiety, PTSD, depression, all of those sorts of things. And it's a great shame.
Let's put you back in charge of the world for a bit.
Yeah.
Okay. So your call. You literally get to decide. I once had a conversation with a member of the royal family from a country, and she was interested in bringing the principles and the inside out understanding and the stuff that I teach into the school system there.
Yeah.
And I started to talk about all the obstacles, all the things that, and she said, no, you do not understand. I could command it. And I was like, oh, that's different. So you're now queen for a day. Like, if you could command it.
Come on. Yeah, I'll come on. What would I come on?
What would you do for mental health?
For mental health?
Yeah.
Firstly, I'd have everybody learn. Oh, yeah, this is what I do. I'd round up the greatest teachers. Because, if you look at our education system at the moment, it's all about class size, etc. I'm a big fan of Ken Robinson's work. And so, if you want to know how education could be improved, look at Ken Robinson's stuff. This guy understands it, communicates it. He's brilliant, wonderful man. And so I'd get the best teacher for the particular subject and make them available to everyone. Now that's kind of happening. So about 5 years ago, Bill Gates said the best lectures by the best lecturers in the world will be available on the internet soon, 5 years for free. And of course you got TED Talks, of which yours last one, I have to say, was excellent. One of the best TED Talks. If people haven't seen it, it's amazing. You really just nail it. But we're now seeing online courses. I've just recorded one with Mind Valley that's out in a couple of weeks. Love Mind Valley, love Vision. Yes, it's everyday bliss, freedom from stress and anxiety. And the neat thing is with this new sort of format, because I like books, I like CDs, cassettes, all that sort of stuff in the past. But now, 21 12-minute lessons pop out, and not just it be a lecture, you actually do something through the screen to the people watching. And so that's the future. Of course, virtual reality will be the next thing, and so on and so on and so on. And of course, if we're to go off into the future, at the moment, from here to here, we interface with our phone that connects to the web. We've got access to information, all sorts of things. Very soon, if you listen to the work of Ben Gottschall or, some of the other futurists, we're going to have Elon Musk is planning on some sort of connection here.
Like Johnny Mnemonics chip from the movie with Keanu Reeves. Yeah. So
you'll Bluetooth with World Wide Web, and you'll have access to the, all the intelligence. So what I would do in
sorry, I want to hear. But is that not a little terrifying?
Yes and no. What's really interesting, you're absolutely right, that artificial intelligence is essentially learning from what it's doing is spying and selling. So where's its values going to be based is what some people are asking. And the Turing test, when suddenly a machine can basically pass for a human, people are saying, oh, that's the time we should be worried. I think the time we should be worried is when the machine says, no, I didn't really pass the test, but it did anyway, it could have done. That's when we should be worried. And so the whole idea with an infinite intelligence is that it wants to know what it doesn't know. So it's different to human intelligence. It's similar, but it's going to grow exponentially, and there'll come a point, the singularity, when you are having breakthroughs of an exponential nature, of Nobel Prize winning breakthroughs every single second all around the world. Pow! And so in that moment, when we have become a marriage of cyber technology and human physiology, the species takes an evolutionary jump from which we can never return, by the way. And are we then human? Are we machine? Are we a hybrid? Will our intelligence and our morals and our ethos change? And so there are more questions and answers around all this. Some people think it's fantastic that we'll be able to 3D print loads of versions of ourselves and, live, alternative lives, things like that, which are very fantastic. And then there's people like Elon Musk who's saying, whoa, we could be Terminator, And so, I mean, I don't think we can do anything about it except, try our best, So if I was going to run mental health, I would get the best people in the world to train as many healthcare professionals in all the leading technologies that work really well with mental health. This is outside of medicine, in the world of psychology or modern psychology, it would be hypnosis, NLP, psychosensory, and of course the principles as well. All the great technologies that work really well, and that may take an amount of time, but there's certain people who are just natural for it. They pick it up and they're good at it. And from there, what I would do is I'd get them to go work on as many people as they could. And of course, you wouldn't get it right every time, but the general effect around the planet. Here's another thing I would do for mental health. I'm sure you know of the work of the amazing work involving the electronic coin flippers. This is
Dean Radin.
Dean Radin, yeah, dear Dr. Dean Radin, wonderful man. He what he does is he's put these they're called random event generators in universities all around the world, and they're flipping a random pattern 300 times a second, zeros and ones, coin flippers, yeah. And when there's an incident of mass consciousness, such as the O.J. Simpson verdict, the Super Bowl, the death of Diana, the tsunami, 9/11, the computers all around the world go out of a random pattern into an organized pattern. Now, what's really interesting, what we can extrapolate from that is, I'm going to put that aside for a moment. When there's a boxing match on television, the murder rate goes up as much as 12.4% in some places, right? So boxing match, murder rate goes up. When you get some meditators, sometimes as many as a couple of thousand, and you put them in a city, it's been done over 50 times this, Washington, Jerusalem, all over the world, and they meditate over a couple of weeks, the violent crime rate goes down dramatically. So what we can draw from that is, and this is what Dean says, is the collective effect of a load of people going into this wonderful state of consciousness has a peace field effect, right? Now, of course, when you got a lot of people, has a different sort of effect. Now, of course, if you open a newspaper, turn on the TV, listen to the radio, you're being told, and have been for the last few years, that we're under attack. It's either terrorists, it's either the economy, it's either, right now, of course, it's the economy, it's the virus, it's all of this. And so we have a violence addicted, fear-based aggression media, I would argue. And so that what I would do in the area of mental health, mandatory meditation en masse. And of course, it wouldn't actually, you'd say mandatory, you'd want to do it because the feeling, sorry about that. Okay. Sorry, I went a bit nuts with the mandatory. No, what I'll do is set it up so that it would be a good thing to do, because when you do a really great meditation like Genpo Roshi's Big Mind, I mean, it's the bliss of all bliss. You're there in this fantastic expanded state of consciousness, and it feels wonderful. And so why wouldn't you do it every day? So I think if we did that on a regular basis, the peace field effect would go a long way to helping the mass mental health of our planet. And I'm not just saying it as a theory. There's a lot of evidence to back that up as well. So yes, that's my idea, that's my theory, but it is an evidence-based one.
All right, well, you got the job. You start tomorrow. Good luck. Oh, you thought I was just playing. No, I was actually sent to interview you. I'd be on for that by now.
The only thing I would find challenging with it is the sort of sense of responsibility. One of those things where, I think every day, wow, I've got to now get this right. So
okay, what is let's take you off being in charge for everyone, just like as individuals. What do you see as our responsibility during this time?
Well,
like we have this debate all the time. Like we are continually kind of going, I mean, should we follow the rules? Is that our responsibility? Is there how do we make our own way?
I think it's a great question, Michael. I've been talking with lots of friends and various people that have been either very stressed or depressed, right? And so and then also some people are in great shape. I just some of my friends are like, right, I'm going to learn the guitar, I'm going to learn French, I'm going to do this because I've got the time, right? So first of all, I think with all of these things, it's got to start with you. So if you're in good shape, you're better service to the world. So if you look after yourself, your self-care has got to be the starting point. So a lot of people think, oh, I've got to, that is for the family, and it's noble. But if you're in good shape, the world's a better place. And so one of the things that I've found, certainly with my friends who felt down, is they're thinking about what they don't have and they can't do. And they've been catastrophizing. Right, yeah. Understandably, because that's part of our sort of natural human defense mechanism. So I started with some simple questions that the people I've been doing at Depressed the last few days. I said, have you got your health? I mean, have you? And they go, certainly your physical health right now. They go, yeah. I mean, I'm physically well. Yeah. I say, do you have friends and people you love or you can connect with? Even if it's like this, a video call. And they go, yeah. I go, it's really important to do that. Do you have a roof over your head and food in the fridge? And yeah, because in the Western world we're in paradise, right? And I say, do you have a purpose? Not even a job, a purpose. And they go, yeah. Or we go, what could your purpose be if you could wave a magic wand? If I really have to push it. And then they start to go, they're thinking about everything they have, because I do a gratitude list most days at the moment. That's another thing I really recommend. And I haven't done it for a while, and we started doing it when we were out walking the dog, because walking in nature, great way to control and reduce stress, but it just feels good, doesn't it? I mean, you get that positive overwhelm. Something like there's a Japanese word for the sort of healing of the forest or something like that. And I just walk along and I go, I'm grateful for my wife, grateful for my dog, grateful for my health. I'm grateful for this. I go things like, I'm grateful for that first cup of tea of the morning, because it never tastes as good as that first one. And so some of it's little stuff and some of it can be big stuff. So I think that in terms of this time now, if we were to look at, sure, there's challenges, there's stuff you could feel bad about, stuff maybe you should feel anxious about, because that fear's job is to say, be prepared. And so with that in mind, you just don't want to live in it. That's all. With that in mind, then I would start.
I'm prepared. Yeah, I got it.
Well, that's how some of the people do. And so I understand it's natural to catastrophize like that. Yeah, I would bring it back to, this is what I've been doing with people, is going, it's the old things. They go, here's another thing. They go, well, I've gotten into sort of this laid back sort of thing of sitting on the couch and, watching 3 hours of TV. And, it's all very nice. I don't know. Well, I can't really get motivated, thought of going back out into the world. And, it's the thing that we've always discussed. You need a goal that's so big, it gets you out of bed in the morning. Now, what a lot of people do is they make these big goals and they go, oh, it's overwhelming. I'll just give up and I'll never be able to do that. And of course, the simple process I use is I back engineer it. So when you're there and you've achieved this and you've got that, the dream job and the perfect partner and the world is the way you want it, step back. What was the thing that happened before that? Step back. And what's the thing that happened before that? Step back until you get back to here. And then just take one action every day to move you closer to your big goals. It's very interesting. There was a lady who lost 10 stone. That would be 140 pounds, right? Using my weight loss system years ago. And she'd run 3 marathons. And I said, so how'd you do it? And she went, well, I just, started walking the dog every day. I thought, I'll walk a bit further. Actually, I'll jog with the dog. I'll jog. Actually, I'll run. Now I'll run a lot. Actually, I'll run a half marathon. Or I'll run a full one. And so a little bit at a time really is, and I think it's one of the things you say, which is if you can do one thing every day that takes you that little bit closer to your goal, after a while you overcome the inertia, it becomes easier to do it than not to do it. In fact, somebody said to me, they said, the hardest part about working out is that walk to the gym. And I thought, yeah, it's so true, because once you're there, you're committed, aren't you? But it's do I want to get off?
Which is why actually this is the test, because there's no walk to the gym now. So the hardest part you can't do. So we're doing it from home. So, okay. So one of the things for me that makes me think of is one of my favorite exercises, and I'm sure you and I have done this, but it was life-changing for me. I share it on a lot of my programs, is what I call the happy deathbed. So you're on your deathbed and you're really, really happy. What are you happy about? Like, what is it about the life you've lived that causes you to be happy? And it's amazing that again and again and again, people find things that they already have or that are available to them. Whereas when people set goals and try and motivate themselves, very often it's stuff they don't have. And there's something kind of gorgeous about recognizing that gratitude and seeing that you've already gotten almost contentment doesn't shut you down. It doesn't. Content people aren't the ones sitting on their porch staring. It's depressed people who do that. Actual aliveness, actual contentment, actual gratitude is from that place. We do a lot. And there's something just kind of nice about knowing that it's not a choice between being grateful and unmotivated or being discontented and motivated, that you can actually be happily motivated. You can be contentedly and gratefully motivated.
Well, I remember when years ago, and I did not the same as that. I did that one with you, sometime later, but I went off out to near the end of my life and looked back, and I thought, what do I wish I'd done more of and less of? And it was a surprise. I thought, I wish I'd laughed more, loved more, been less competitive, and I didn't wish I'd accrued more toys at that time. And there was a shift in my thinking. And then you had this lovely take on this. You said, no, go to the end of your life and you work from the assumption that you've had a great life. It's been fantastic, spectacular. What was it that made it that way? And then, of course, the flood of insights comes. Oh, it's like all the quality times with family and friends. It was, it was actually being creative. It was actually, I love the Dalai Lama says, kindness is my religion. I actually really like just, being kind, but for everyone it's slightly different. I mean, for you, obviously, it was seeing your kids grow up. I seem to
remember. That's right. For me, the big revelation, which now I look back on and go, how could that have been a revelation? But this was at the beginning of my career and the beginning of having kids. It was just obvious to me what I was most grateful for was that I was there while my kids were growing up. And honestly, I still think I delayed my career by about 10 years and don't regret it at all.
Yeah.
I've been a part of my kids' lives.
Yeah.
I'll take
It's
that
great.
out of 10. Last question.
Sure.
What is the first thing you are looking forward to doing when the quarantine's off and we're
Oh, touching my face regularly. Why haven't you enjoyed touching my face so much? And I can't do it. Things like actually, one of the things I most enjoy in life is there's actually this too, like being with friends, people I love, or people I'm inspired by, and particularly if it's in a good setting, nice food, nice wine. So that, because last year I traveled more than I've ever done and did motivational events and seminars all over the world. And it was brilliant. I got to meet so many people and I loved it. And that's not coming back soon. I mean, they postponed some of the events for this year, but, we'll wait and see. The other thing as well is, it's just, I suppose it's little things like I go to my mother's for lunch I can't at the moment, so it's things like that, some of these sort of everyday things, going to the cinema, going to the pub, I'm really looking forward to that. And I suppose I would ask you, what are you most looking forward to as well?
Well, it's fun. We've been talking about that. So one of the things was going out and playing golf again, but they just opened the golf courses, so I've done it. So that was kind of cool. Yeah. But it's honestly going to a restaurant with Neem for having a date, like an actual night, and go to the movies.
Yeah,
like I really miss the movies.
Yeah,
So,
there's something about being when you're in a group of people watching the same movie, or even there was some research recently that showed that when you're watching a film or one of these like sort of event TV shows like American Idol, X Factor, etc. When you're watching one and everyone else is, you're enjoined in the experience, and so you get a better feeling. You get some more serotonin, I think it is. I mean, certainly when you're in a group of like-minded people, like a concert or AA meeting, if it's that sort of thing, or if it's some sort of rally or something. If you're surrounded by like-minded people, you get a rise in serotonin. And so I definitely I like going to events, all sorts of different events. So that's one of the things I've missed. I think we're going to be still spaced out. It'll be every other seat in the cinema, won't it? So, which is understandable.
It's actually nicer,
Yeah.
Here. This is my parting shot for you, Paul. This is your hand. I'm touching your face. I'm touching your face. I'm touching your face. There you go.
Great to see you, Michael. I've loved listening to these and watching them. They've been so entertaining, but also really fascinating, lovely, thought-provoking experiences. So thanks for doing this, and really lovely to see you, my friend.
An absolute delight. If you want to see more, you can check out Facebook. You can check us out on YouTube, and you can check Paul out at paulmckenna.com. Thank you.
Well, actually, one of the things I would add, just is if during this difficult time, I've uploaded most of my trances onto my YouTube channel, so you can use those for free whilst this is all.
We'll put links in underneath as well. Awesome.
Great stuff.
Bye.
God bless, Michael.
Bye.
Much love. All the best. Bye.